Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball and College Baseball. With me as always is Ernie Orange. We haven't been on in a while, but we're going to get to it. I know there's football season on the way and we got baseball still. We still got the best of baseball to come in October. But before we get into all the stuff that we're going to talk to you about today, how you doing over there, Ernie?
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're excited to be back. Our 2-week layoff was, nice little vacation for us here, but we're ready to come back stronger than ever. 3 weeks left into the baseball season, and then you know what's the best time of the year? Playoffs. And if you guys don't know, this postseason is going to be dramatic, like it always is, and we're excited to be here for Power Hour every Sunday or Monday,
Yeah.
depending what day we're available.
Yeah, and then we're going to put out the playoff schedule as well, so we can get on and talk baseball. Of course, last year we started doing it right after every game. I don't know about this year, but we'll try to get on as much as possible. So today we're going to talk about who's the MVP of MVPs, meaning if there was only one MVP in the league, that means national and American, who would it be? And we'll get into that. We have two guys that are on the top of their respective leagues. We'll talk about NL division winners, who's going to win their division based on the schedule. Of course, NL wild card as well. AL division winners, AL wild card, and at the end we'll do the power rankings. All here on Real Talk Baseball. Who's the MVP of MVPs, dude? That's a pretty cool, I guess, a good title to our show. And when we talk about stuff like this, it's kind of interesting to me because there's two MVPs there's one in the NL, one in the AL, but basketball has one MVP for the whole league. You have NFL has a MVP for the whole league. So, do you feel baseball should be something where we should have just one MVP? And we'll discuss it, of course. But answer that question first, and then we'll get into the other the other part.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the beauty of this game of baseball, right? Each league has their own MVP winner, and I think everybody likes that. We do definitely need an AO/NL MVP, especially with a long 162 game season. These players play a ton of games compared to any other sport.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
this is an historic season for both of these players we have here mentioned. Judge, which is having a historic 50-something home runs, approaching a 62 home run mark he did a couple of years back. And now you have Shohei Ohtani that is approaching a 50-50 season. Now, if I had to choose one right now, I would definitely have to choose Judge. The way the Yankees have been performing this season, he has been their most valuable player, has transitioned this team from being one of the worst teams offensively last year to a way better team this year. No shame with Shohei. He's a great player, one of the all-time greatest we have here. But you got to remind yourself, Ohtani is not pitching this season, and he's not playing any defensive skills whatsoever out there in the outfield. While you have Judge playing day in and day out in the outfield. This is why I give Judge the edge here over Ohtani this season, only because he's hitting more home runs, more RBIs. He leads the stats on almost anything else compared to Shohei. So for me, it's Judge. Now, if it was Ohtani pitching, then I think my answer would be different. But I definitely have to go with my boy Judge this year.
And you got to look at how the team is doing as well, because you're looking at the Yankees. And I agree with you. Judge is by far more MVP than Ohtani. And Ohtani's not pitching, but Judge is making the Yankees a lot better. The Yankees without Judge, you used to say that last year. You said the Yankees are very Judge dependent, and they are. If Judge is not in that team, they're not good. They're not going to do anything. They don't do any damage. And you see it like day in, day out when he's out there in the outfield, when he's making, getting those at-bats, getting those walks. He's making the team a lot better. He's making the other pitchers pitch more and think about what pitches to throw and whatever. So I just feel like this one's a no-brainer, but we have to talk about a little bit deeper than just that. We talked about Judge being better than Ohtani, but then you go into the National League and you have other players like Francisco Lindor has been popping up lately, becoming an MVP in the league because he is a shortstop. He's playing with the Mets. The Mets are playing a lot better baseball. I believe they're tied for the third spot with the Braves hitting into the wild card. So you have the Padres, Diamondbacks, and you have the Mets in the mix now. And the Braves are looking a little lost. So I don't know if Lindor makes it to the playoffs. Is that an edge on Ohtani to becoming an MVP?
No, 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 no. Let's get this right. Lindor is having a great second half season, but let's remind himself how his first half started. It wasn't that great. So this is a different level. There's levels to MVPs, and I feel like Ohtani is at another level than Lindor. Ohtani is approaching this 50-50 season, and it's never been done. So we got to remind ourselves that that's something historical. What Lindor is doing right now is just he's batting 272, 30 home runs, 84 RBIs. Is that something that wows me? No. Is the Mets performing much better because of his performance? Yes. But, Ohtani stats right now with 46-46 and approaching 50-50 because he's going to get it without a doubt. And we all know that. So you put Ohtani to do something, he'll do it for you guys. And that's why he's so great. And a special type of player that we never seen in this type of generation. And so I don't like this comparison of Lindor better than Ohtani this year. Ohtani, yes, may not play in the outfield every day, but the way he performs, it's like best MVP that we've ever seen for a DH, right?
Yeah, I agree, and that's where I feel like, because I like shortstops, and it's kind of going against what I like to talk about, but I do feel like Shohei is in a different level. He's doing things, and the 50-50, it's a plus. It's gonna help him try to get those votes to win the MVP. Does he have it better than Judge? No. Does he have it better than Lindor? Yes. And Lindor, the thing is, when you talk about MVPs, and this is where I'm gonna need you to comment on it too, Ernie. Is that when you have an MVP, you have to make the team a lot better than what it's supposed to be performing, right? So Ohtani is doing that. He hasn't missed. He's probably the only hitter. Let me knock on wood, that hasn't got injured this year. So everybody else on that Dodger roster has gotten injured, has been on a 10-day IL, including Teoscar Hernandez, which we thought that he was a team MVP up to this point until he got hurt. So Ohtani, he's keeping the team and afloat, playing better. They're one of the best teams in the major leagues right now. But with Lindor is that the Mets are up and down. They're up and down. They're hot, they're cold, they're hot, they're cold, and that's how he's been. He's been hot, cold, hot, cold. So you can't be that way if you're going to be the MVP. But the conversation has been going on a lot, dude, and that's
I don't
the
like
thing.
it.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of where like, when Trout won these MVPs, he did not make it to playoffs, but he did win the MVP. He had these numbers that were like, oh, why is he MVP? Well, look at his numbers. His numbers just talk to them by themselves. If Lindor was doing that, where he was hitting 300 as a shortstop, getting 30 home runs, he's going to get 30-30 because he has 26 stolen bases. So he's going to be a 30-30 hitter, 30 stolen bases, 30 home runs. We just need to know when that's going to happen, but it should happen this year for him. But if he was probably a 40-40, there's no conversation.
Right.
Definitely will be MVP. Definitely will have the Mets in a different level, and definitely, like, this man will be doing so much damage in that league. But yeah, for now, I think that conversation is kind of like should die down.
Yes, hopefully.
Judge is better than Ohtani, but Ohtani is better than Lindor. So those are the two MVPs. But if there was only one, I think Judge will win it, just like you said.
No, you were totally right. And with Aaron Judge getting finally the support he needs in front of him in the batting order with Juan Soto there, that's something he desperately needed in the past couple of years. He didn't have it. Now he has it. Juan Soto protects him in the lineup. And that's where he's able to come in and just ease in and hit those bombs. It feels like every time Judge gets at bat, he's going to hit one out easily.
Yeah.
If you got some weak stuff and you're throwing that down the middle, that's out. So that's out the
Well,
park.
he makes the team a lot better, dude. That's the point in blank. Yeah, definitely puts him in the.
Can this be the year Judge finally goes deep into the playoffs, man? This is where this guy has been in the league for almost 7-8 years now. Been in the playoffs in and out, but the Yankees can't get past the Astros, and that's a question mark we have this year going into the postseason. Can Judge and Soto finally make that complete duel to take down those Astros?
Damn, that's a little scary for the Yankees fans as well, knowing that the Astros picked it up, and they picked it up at the right time because they are in the West. The Mariners were struggling. The Mariners are not playing where they're. I mean, I thought the Mariners were going to win the division, dude. We saw them being up on the division by All-Star break, and now look at them. They're all like not even there. The Astros have that division. I think they have it locked. I mean,
easily.
yeah, there's no
I hate I hate that we doubted them.
yeah,
That's the most like back in the first half of the season, we're like, yeah, they're finally done. And now
yeah.
look at us back now it's September saying, yeah, they have it locked in. You're like, freaking Astros. That's what they always do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, since we were already talking about divisions and talking about who will win the division, let's go ahead into the AL Central, and I'll put this image up, and we have the Cleveland Guardians on top with 81 wins, and they're ahead by 2.5 against Kansas City. Minnesota started dying off again when they were in the mix too. So that's what's been going on with the Central. The Central has been up down type of teams, and they're playing good baseball. Dude, they have 4 teams over 500. Of course, the White Sox, they already eliminated. They were eliminated
Yeah.
a long time. But those 4 teams are playing 500 over 500 baseball, and that's good for the division, a division that we thought was weak, right? So, does the Cleveland Guardians have enough to win the division? They're only 2.5 up on that.
Yeah, it's one of those where the Cleveland Guardians have, been the first place all season long, and I think it's for a reason. They have one of the strongest bullpens in the MLB. You have Emmanuel Clase that closes out every game, hasn't really blown the save,
Yeah,
and that 7, 8 through 9 holds it down. And with Jose Ramirez and Naylor out there, they continue to put some good at bats and continue to win. Now the
yeah,
Royals and Twins, there's the 2 teams that a couple of weeks ago you had the Royals tied with the Guardians. Finally, were about to make a move and they go downhill. They lose 6 in a row, and now they finally won 3 in a row against the Twins. It's kind
yeah,
of hard to see where they're going. You have a lot of experienced players in that team after this offseason. They made up huge signings, but you don't know what you're going to get. Looks like the players are kind of getting tired later into the season. Then you have a Twins team that's inconsistent. They lost Brian Over, if I'm not mistaken, to the season. You
mhm,
had a couple of injuries out there. We're not sure what's going to happen with this Twins team. And then you have the Detroit Tigers, which no one expected to even be in the mix, have been winners of. Recently, they kind of died down, but just a couple of weeks back, they were in a 6-7 game winning streak, winning meaningful games in August and finding a way to get into the mix. But
yeah,
yes, if I have to look at this right now, it's easily the Guardians. It's a team that's proven that they could win, they could close out games, and
yeah.
that's why I have them at top. But now with the Royals and Twins, I have a feeling that we'll make the wild card just because the way things are looking out in the wild card right now. But it's 2 teams that I don't see overthrowing the Guardians.
Okay. So yeah, I got the Guardians as well. Like, I don't see them being a team that's gonna collapse at the end, because I feel like they've been playing strong baseball all season long. Everybody doubted the Guardians. Everybody was talking about the Guardians don't have enough to win it. Remember, we always say that the Central is a weak division, and that's one of the things where every baseball fan felt that, oh, they're not going to do anything. Now going into the end, the last month of baseball, you see the Guardians, you see the Kansas City Royals, and the Minnesota Twins. They're all playing good baseball. I mean, of course, the last 2 teams are not playing as much as good as the Guardians, but they are playing a lot more better baseball. They're playing competitive baseball. And I mean, we'll see what happens. But the Guardians definitely going. We'll talk about Kansas City, Minnesota after we talk about the other divisions. Let's move on to the East. And this one's a little bit interesting because we have the Yankees and Baltimore Orioles going at it in the East, dude. And you usually have the Rays there, which the Rays have a really good team, a young, solid team, which probably next year, that's when we'll talk about the Rays going back into the mix into the East. The East is the toughest, and American League East. That's what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah.
who's winning the division in the East, in the AL East, dude?
Oh man, it feels like it's a toss up between the Orioles and Yankees. Like every week I look at the standings and it always flips and flops. It's really gonna come down to the last day of the season. But if I have to choose one, it's just the Yankees. The way Judge and Soto have played all season long. It's 2 guys that seem to connect with one another really well. Now there's mentions that Nestor Cortez is going into the bullpen amid his struggles recently. It's kind of a shocking news. You got Luis Gill also struggling, but then you have a young Oriole team that continues to play day in and day out with a huge offensive numbers. Somehow their bullpen's also kind of questionable, Mark, with Sir Anthony Dominguez coming in, and then Craig Kimbrell. He's either the closer or is he the seventh inning guy? A lot of question marks for both teams, but if I had to choose one right now, it's the Yankees. I just feel like there's something special going on this year, and I think Aaron Boone has a lot of pressure to win that division.
Yeah, yeah. It's either you win it or you get fired, and he's in the hot seat definitely. I just feel like the Yankees have what it takes to win the division. The Orioles, and I'm gonna mention this again. I feel like a broken record, always saying this about the Orioles. They should have got a little bit more of a veteran presence. I feel like right now this is just the struggling part of baseball. August going into September. September is where you have to grind it out, play your last baseball games, win your division, and then go into playoffs and step it up again. And I feel like the Baltimore Orioles right now, they're like up, down, up, down. They're still playing good baseball. Don't get me wrong. It's just I feel like the Orioles, they could have took off in the division, dude. They could have done it a long time ago because you had the Yankees their pitching was kind of struggling for a bit after a while. So remember, the Yankees started really hot at the beginning of the season, and then they went in after All-Star break. Baltimore's right there. So I just feel like, yeah, the Yankees are going to win the division, but Baltimore, going into the wild card, I think they'll be okay. They'll be fine going in that wild card.
And I feel like the Orioles could have taken off, but they dealt with some starting rotation issues this year. You have Zach Eflin, who they got from the trade deadline, dealt with an injury, went to the IL. Grayson Rodriguez has been out for a month already. They lost Kyle Bradish to the season. Dane Kramer just finally came back from injury. So this is a team that's dealt with a lot of injuries all season round. Yeah. And I feel like Corbin Burns is the only one that's been there for them all year round. So, it's part of the game. Injuries come and go. Talk to the Dodgers about it. They're dealing with a lot of major injuries out there. But the Oriole team has kind of been injury-riddled in the starting rotation, and I think that's the main reason why they have been having issues trying to overtake the Yankees this year.
Yeah, and you're picking the Yankees to win the division?
Yeah, I just feel like the Yankees will get this one at the final day of the season. And there's nothing wrong with being either the first wild card team or the division winner. You've seen this new postseason format. It actually benefits you if you are the wild card team. So, hey, maybe the Orioles know a little bit something that the Yankees don't. We're not too sure, but there's nothing wrong with just as long as you make the postseason. That's all that really matters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's move on to the West. Do you feel like the Red Sox are going to do any movement in the last month of baseball?
Yes, and for any Red Sox fans out there, I unfortunately don't think the Red Sox will, get hot anytime soon. It's a team that did play really well during the mid months of the season, but I feel like it's finally died off, and we're seeing what the Red Sox really are. They didn't really spend the last offseason, and this is the price you're paying for not spending money. And I think the Rays are also in the mix, which, man, they continue to impress me how they're still at least 500 ball, given all the talent they've given up. And, finding young talent to even replace that talent, it's impressive.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think the Rays are going to be really good next year. And they got a young core there.
Definitely. And then the Blue Jays, that's been the most disappointing team in the AL East.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette not performing, Kevin Biggio being DFA'd, and then Vladimir Guerrero is just who he is. It hasn't been the best time out there recently for him out there. So,
yeah. Sucks. All right. Let's move on to the West, and we talked about it a little bit, and we said that the Houston Astros woke up at the right time. They're in the right division to do that. Do you see them not winning the division, being up on the Mariners right now?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this Astro team has what it takes to win. They just found it together. It's clicking together. Justin Verlander's the only pitcher that's struggling for them recently. Other than that, they got Spencer Arrighetti, who is a young talent performing at another level. Ronel Blanco, who's thrown a no-hitter, proven that he can win in this league. Framber Valdez. They just have the rotation, and they missed Cal Tucker for 2 months, and he's finally back. And once he gets it going, this Astros team is going to heat up. And unfortunately, we have to see him in the postseason again. Boo, but it's part of the game. They do what they do best, and that's why they're a good organization. And that's why their fans think that, they didn't really cheat because they continue to win. They've been in the ALCS the past previous 7 seasons. And nobody's been able to top them. So
true. Well, let's move on to the wild card and see what we have going there. So I'll go ahead and pull up the standings in a bit. There we go, right there. I just wanted to get rid of the
card.
Yeah,
this wild card is where it's going to be at.
There we go. Go for it.
Yeah, definitely. This wild card, man. This AL wild card has been an interesting one. We still have a Tigers team that is in the mix, guys. Really, a Tigers team. Who would have saw this coming? You have the Mariners, who are also been struggling as of late, but here Neto says that Julio Rodriguez hit his first home run since July on Thursday. That's a good sign for the Mariners because they desperately need it offensively. It's just really been Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez getting the offense as much as they can. But they made some pickups with Justin Turner, but, he's past his prime already, and we're asking for a lot for him to get this team offensively. Pitching wise, this Mariner team has what it takes, and if this Twins team can't get it together, this Mariner team can make a run for it. And it's not over with that strong pitching rotation the Mariners do have. It's competitive, and it could take anybody of those teams down right now.
I agree, dude. They do have one of the top pitching staffs out there, and I know they went and got Rosarena as well, and he hasn't been performing up to what they said that he was going to be doing. But 3.5 games compared to 5 in the division, I think is more doable for them in the wild card. Minnesota, like I said, in their division and their part, we said that they were up and down, up and down. You know, the Mariners can get it started clicking. They just need to get it clicking for these last 4 weeks of the month. And if they do that and Minnesota falls off, Detroit falls off, even Kansas City, dude, because they do the same thing. They're not playing consistent ball to where they're like, all right, we're taking off. We're good. We're going to win the division. No, you know, they haven't done that. So I think for sure, Baltimore is locked in that number 1 spot in the wild card because we said that the Yankees will win the division. And in Kansas City, still is kind of, I don't know, you know, like it's kind of like up and down with them. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Mariners can go ahead and win this, you know, wild card spot. I think they will win the 3rd spot if they play better baseball. It was a good stat, Neto. Thank you for putting that up there because I think Julio Rodriguez have been missing for a while, dude, and we need that man to step up if the Mariners are going to do any move or anything to move up. So another thing, Detroit Tigers, dude, they're 3.5 back in that wild card mix. Do you feel like they have enough to make it to go into that 3rd spot? You know, they have Tyreek Skubal, and he's pretty good, dude.
I mean, he's locked in for the AL Cy Young, and this Tiger team is playing really well with the young talent with AJ Hinch on the helm. He's been doing great things for that team, and it would be a great story if the Detroit Tigers could make a run for this and get a wild card spot because they have guys like Riley Green, Parker Meadows, who hit a grand slam during the week against the San Diego Padres. The Padres thought they had this game locked in, won, and Parker Meadows hit a grand slam to overtake the Padres in the 9th. It's a pretty great story to see that the Tigers are making some moves with the young talent they have, and there is chances that they can make a run too. But for sure, I'm not sure if I feel the Twins making a run for this. It just seems like after being swept by the Royals, they took all the momentum they really had. And, you know, with Byron Buxton in and out of the lineup, and we're not really sure what we're going to get from that Twins team.
All right,
What's up, World Profound? Thank you for jumping in and talking to us. Neto saying that so happy the Dodgers went out and got Flaherty and Michael Kopech. Well, 2 great additions for the Dodgers. They must needed arms, and this is great for baseball. But yeah, man, going back to the AL wildcard, it's a great next 3 weeks for you guys. I know football's in coming around, but don't forget about baseball, the best sport in the world. Just let you know that's played worldwide, not like football.
Yeah.
I gotta remind the people, man, because everybody like, oh, it's football, but it's like, wait, let's step back a little bit.
I got a little bit.
The World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I did get into football today. It's Football Sunday. We're like, oh man, I'm watching the games, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And like I forgot, oh hey, we got to do a show. We got to get into baseball again. So I mean, I get it.
It's week one. It's week one. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like, in a couple of weeks, fans will come back and be like, you know what, my team sucks again. I'm going back to baseball. You know, that's how it really works.
Yeah, definitely. So who's the three wild card teams from the AL?
You know what? I got Orioles, Royals, and the Mariners.
Oh, you're making the Mariners.
Yeah, I just feel like they do have the rotation to take it deep. You know, I know Luis Castillo went out with a hamstring injury, which is concerning. We'll find more details in the next coming days. But with the pitching they have, and I think a Rosarena, when you put him the pressure, that guy could just compete at another level.
That's true. And that's not a bad pick. I think I'm gonna keep it the same. I'm gonna keep it Baltimore, Kansas City, and Minnesota, only because I feel like Seattle, that stadium, for some reason, people can't hit in that stadium, and it doesn't benefit anybody in that team. That there's a train passing by, there's all these things happening behind the scene when the pitcher's throwing the ball. So maybe the owners need to start looking into trying to find a way to get their hitters to hit home runs. Bring the fences in. I don't know. Do something different because ever since is it still called Safeco? I think it's still called Safeco, right?
That's T-Mobile. T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile now? Okay, yeah. They changed the names. I don't know. I'm old school. Anyway, I just feel like their stadium's a little, they need to do something for their hitters. What's the stadium that brought in the fence a little bit closer? Was it Baltimore? Or was it Kansas City? One of those ballparks. And it's helping out. So Look at they're in the mix. So I'll keep it the same: Baltimore, Kansas City, and Minnesota. All right, let's go into the next one, man. Let's go to the what is it? The NL. And the NL, dude, we kind of see teams are slipping down, slipping out of the division, but they're in the wild card still. There's a lot of teams in the wild card, and I just want to go ahead and talk about the first one, which is the Central. And we said this was going to be a weak division as well, but they're competing with the top dogs, and they're competing with teams that are doing good in other divisions. And Milwaukee, dude, did Milwaukee surprise you at all this year?
They really did. They're locked in. They continue to perform better than anybody expected. Offensively, they have it. Willie Adames is playing for a contract year, so he's been unstoppable. Christian Yelich held it down for the first half of the season, and Devin Williams is back. And there's a lot of players coming in and out, performing better than we expected. So that's great for them. The Cubs had a chance early in the season, but they fell off with injuries as well. And they're making some noise now, but I think it's a little too late for that Central run.
Yeah, I agree. And remember, we saw Yelich when we went to the Angels game, and he was a tall dude, man. I didn't think they were going to continue to do good as they do now. He got injured, and the Milwaukee Brewers are still owning that division. And hands down, they're going to win the division. They're up 9 against the Cubs. There's no way they can lose it. They got into a little hot streak of a late, and then lately they're what 5-5 in their last 10, which is not looking too good. But I think they got it locked. There's no competition. After that, I mean, the Cubs, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Cincinnati Reds were never in it. You had the Pittsburgh Pirates playing good. They had Skeens, the fever of Skeens and everything. They got into the mix and trying to win the division. If I remember, I think they were only 4 or 3 games behind in the division. And then just Milwaukee just started taking off, and that's just happened with them. So they're just going to win the division. Let's go into the East. And this is a question that I don't know who put it up, but do the Phillies win the division? Then to me, it's a no-brainer, man. The Phillies are definitely winning the division in the East. The Braves are struggling. The Mets are playing hot baseball. They're 9 of their last 10, which is really crazy to me that I'm seeing the Mets in the picture. And then after that, of course, these two teams, Nationals and the Marlins, fall off. But do you see the Phillies winning the division? And I mean, as you're seeing the standings here, I see him winning the division. I saw him winning the division since day one. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, this was definitely the Phillies' year. They were stacked offensively from 1 to 9 hitters. The pitching has been there all healthy all year round, besides Taijuan Walker, which he's been a hot mess recently. But other than that, everything has been working in their favor. And with the Braves dealing with injuries, with Acuna being out, and then Ozuna and Riley can't find their bats. So it's helping the Phillies. It's best as ever been looking.
Yeah. It's just
and
now
the Mets. I don't know what to tell you, man. This Mets team is special. Nobody expected to even be in the mix of the postseason, and here they are, early September, already fighting for that last wildcard spot. It's something special, but I don't think they win the division. They don't have what it takes to take down the Phillies, unfortunately. But in the postseason, maybe they could shock the world. We don't know.
Yeah, they have that song going, that OMG from.
That's right.
Yeah, so they have this thing going with their energy. They have all these vibes. Usually, when you see a team doing those things, that kind of helps you get into the postseason, has a good time, and you're like, hell yeah, this is what it's all about, right? So then, I don't see them winning the division either, the Mets. I just see the Phillies. Like I said, they're going to win the division. The Braves have too much injuries. You have guys that are not producing there. You only have Osuna that's been doing really good there. He's been carrying all the teams since day one, if you remember. So I just feel like someone else needs to step it up in that Braves team, even to try to make the playoffs now, because it's looking like the Mets, are heating up, and the Braves are 5-5 in their last 10. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move on to the West, the National League West. The Dodgers looks like they're locking it up a bit. They're up 6 against the Padres, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks have lost 7 out of their last 10. I believe they're winning right now, or they already won against the Astros, but they kind of slipped a little bit. They in 2 weeks, the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks were 2 games behind the Dodgers, and everybody was like, what the hell is going to happen? Like, are the Dodgers really going to lose it? And no, I guess that's when the Dodgers felt like, you know what, it's time to step it up, and they put their foot to the, they put their pedal to the metal and started stepping up. So, I mean, the Dodgers, I think they're going to win the division. I
Yes.
definitely think that they're going to do it. They've been playing a lot better baseball, and I believe they have the best record in baseball right now. So
That is true. I think this Dodgers team, the Padres and Diamondbacks heating up only benefited the Dodgers more than ever. It made them play at a level we have never seen the Dodgers play at this time of the season, given
yeah,
the fact that there was finally competition in this division, which is
yeah,
great for them because for the past decade, it feels like it's been Dodgers without a fight for most of these teams. So this is great. It only benefits the Dodgers going to the postseason because you've seen time and time again how the Dodgers get affected by this going into the postseason, not having competition. So this is great. I hope when the postseason does come around, we finally see a different Dodger team that we've seen in the past years. And if they have offensive numbers that any other team, they could compete with anybody. And it's just the pitching, guys. The pitching has been a huge concern for this Dodgers rotation. We're not sure what we're going to get back from Kershaw once he returns. Gavin Stone has a right shoulder inflammation. Not really sure the severity of the injury. Neto just brought up a good point. Jack Flaherty is playing better than ever. He's going to get paid this offseason. He's totally right. He's pitching lights out. And there is here a couple pitchers that they do have. But what is going on with Walker Buehler, Bobby Miller? I don't know, man.
yeah.
I'm not trying to jinx them or anything, but I think this is not the year just because the pitching, man. If you want to win in October, you have to have a strong rotation.
Definitely, you need a strong rotation, and every Dodger fan will tell you the same thing. It'll be like, "Nah, man, I don't know about the pitching. I've never seen a Dodger team that never had a pitching staff going into the playoffs. That happened last year. They went into the playoffs with a pitching staff that we pretty much didn't really support. And if you're a long-time Dodger fan, we've never been a team that has nothing but power hitters. We've never been a team that we go into playoffs not having a good pitching staff. So that's kind of a different for a Dodger fan. That's super different to what a Dodger fan is used to. So knowing that Ohtani is a slugger, Muncy, Freeman, you have Mookie Betts, and all the other cats that are doing it, like Gavin Lux has been hitting really good as of late. We're not used to that. We're used to seeing the Dodgers having pitching, and this is different. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But let's go into the wild card. And this is where it's going to get a little interesting because I feel like the NL is a little bit, there's more teams involved, I feel like, going into the wild card because in the AL, you have teams that are 5, 6, 7, 8 games away. And then here you still see the Cubs. They're 5 games. They can go into a hot streak before the season ends to try to take over that third spot in the wild card. So do you see the Padres winning the wild card number 1, Arizona number 2, and I don't know if it's going to be the Braves or the Mets number 3 or the Cubs as well. We can add the Cubs on there.
All right, question to you. Do you think the Cubs have a chance?
Dude, it's just they go into these little hot streaks. And if they go into these little hot streaks at the end, I know they have a tough schedule coming. They're playing the Dodgers. They're playing top teams that are 500. So I don't think they're going to do anything. But like I said, they can go into these little hot streaks that they can potentially, get into a little scare and scare the third spot in that wild card. But do I see them winning anything? Nah, I don't.
Nah.
I don't.
So another question for you. Out of these 4 teams that are on top, who you have making it? Do you have the Braves falling off? Because I don't see the Braves making it, man. I feel like their momentum's dying out. Yes, Chris Sale's having an NL Cy Young type of season. But other than that, Reynaldo Lopez coming back from injury, there's concerns there too. Offensively, they don't have it this year, guys. And I think that's where not having Acuna is a huge effect on them. They've lost Alvis. And, man, I don't know. I see this Mets team on the other side, and they're playing with better momentum. They won the last 9 games until today. And, they're playing at another level. Jesse Winker's got some momentum there. Paul Blackburn with the deadline. It's not their year to compete, but yet they're there. So I would like to see a Mets team. I personally think that. And if you ask any Braves fan today, they're still proud of their team for having a winning record, but they don't see them even making it deep into the postseason.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of Braves fans, and they said, like, you know what? It's not our year. It's not looking like we're going to do anything. But look at the Diamondbacks. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're not playing their baseball, their best baseball right now. They had Marte come back, and we thought they were like, okay, they're going to do a lot better. But usually when you see these injured players come back, you're gonna have to remove one of your players that have been doing or has been producing, right? So
Right?
I honestly feel like the Diamondbacks, if they don't get it together, they could fall even deeper or lower. And then you have the Mets and the Braves making that playoff run right there. Because then look
Ooh,
at the Padres too. They're 5-5 in their last 10 as well, right? You have the Mets 9-1 in their last 10s, and then you have the Braves. They're 5-5. They're playing that type of baseball, almost like the Diamondbacks. So it's gonna be interesting to see for me who's gonna win that third spot. I feel like Arizona, Atlanta, and New York are gonna battle that one. I think the Padres have that first spot on lock. I just
okay.
feel like their pitching and their bullpen is on there. They just got Tatis back, and they're looking to prove something. They're trying to be the first wild card team to, you know, play at home as well, because it's home field advantage for the first game of the wild card. So you play all three games if it's necessary, and they'll be playing in San Diego. So I think that one's the lock. Number two, I mean, the way that Arizona's playing, dude, I don't know, man. But I don't want to
Wow.
jinx it. Yeah, the way that's just the way they're playing, dude.
Let me just tell you one thing that never crossed my mind before this show. I never thought even Arizona would be out the picture. You've convinced me a little bit, knowing that Christian Walker's been out, Gabby Moreno,
Yeah,
and then Cattell Marte dealing with an ankle injury. That takes a while to get back into timing. So,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I didn't think about that, man. And now you got me doubting if the Diamondbacks would even make this postseason run.
And
Wow.
that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just thinking, like, okay, so like the Diamondbacks to me, I feel like that's the scarier team for me. It, like a Dodger fan, I don't want to face the Diamondbacks in the playoffs. Why? Because we already know what happened last year. These guys hit hard. They're sluggers, and their pitching kept the Dodgers hitters in line. So I haven't seen the San Diego Padres bullpen. They went and made all these trades for their bullpen, and they've been lights out. I know we talked about the Tigers winning that game in the Grand Slam fashion. Uh, what was it, 3-4 days ago? And I just feel like the Padres are they're okay, they're good, but I'm more scared of the Diamondbacks. And if the Diamondbacks don't step it up, they could potentially miss the playoffs. Like I said, Atlanta just needs to keep playing 500 ball like they've been doing, and then the Mets, they caught up to all this. So there's those four teams that I feel like, you know, uh,
Man.
are going to be in a mix. But give me your prediction. Who's winning the wild? Who's going to go in the wild card out of those
Okay,
four
man.
teams?
I just
Yeah,
want to tell everyone out there this is going to be a fun, exciting next 3 weeks of baseball. Make sure to tune in for these next four teams here. I feel like every match is going to mean something special. Now, the Mets and Atlanta Braves have a tiebreaker between one another. I think it's 5-5, and then they're going to actually face each other later in late September to determine that spot. So that's going to be an exciting series, just to throw that out there. But yeah, I honestly think it's going to be San Diego, Arizona, and the Mets. I just think that's the way it's looking right now, the way the Mets are playing. You guys know that September is a time when the hottest teams come around and find themselves. And this is what we're seeing here with this Mets team. We're seeing something special that we've never seen from them in a long time. And any Mets
definitely.
fans out there listening, I think you guys have something special with Pete Alonso, Lindor out there. And then, you got guys like Mark Vientos that came out of nowhere as a rookie. He's playing special type of game. And then they have pitching that players that we didn't see having success, like Luis Severino finding himself again, Sean Mania, and then Paul Blackburn in the mix. This is a team with a lot of players that were doubted once, but they're proving to be determined winners this year.
Dope, dope, dope. So I'm going to go with San Diego. I'm going to keep Arizona, and I'm going to keep the Braves in there. I'm going to go ahead and just keep the Braves only because if the Mets stay hot like they've been playing, which is hard to do for a Mets team because the Mets have been having these winning streaks before, and then at the end they just collapse. They don't play the best baseball. I just feel like they're gonna collapse again. And I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, as a baseball fan, I think Atlanta knows how to get there. They know how to go into the playoffs. They've done it before. They've done it without Acuna. They won the World Series without Acuna, and that was their big star there. So they know how to do it. I think they're gonna be that third spot. And but don't be surprised if Arizona falls a little bit, and they have like a little bit of competing with the Braves and the Mets, and that's where it's
Okay.
gonna be interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
like I think Neto just brought up a good point though. Arizona does have two top all-star talents that could go with each team out there. They could compete with anybody. And that starting rotation, when you have Jordan Montgomery as your bullpen guy, that tells you how strong that rotation is.
Yeah, and definitely, dude. Like, and yeah, Christian Walker is he's the Dodger killer. If he comes back, because he has an oblique strain, and oblique strains is not easy to come back by. Like, it's not like one of those things where like, oh, I have an ache on my knee and I could deal with it. No, this one is pretty much, I've had that injury and
I saw you deal with it, and you couldn't move. Yeah, it's one of the injuries I saw you deal with, and I was like, man, that's something I do not want to deal with.
Yeah, it's not a fun injury, like, but yeah, it's hard to move. And if you're swinging the bat with all your might and you feel it, like, more power to you, man. But yeah, he is a Dodger killer. That's why I said the Diamondbacks are scary to me. So
hey, just a quick question: since you dealt with an oblique injury, was that enough to hang the cleats?
Oh yeah, dude. Can't sleep, can't move, can't do anything. I can't even, like, I don't know, man. It was hard. It was hard to put shoes on. So yeah, that's how bad it was, because you feel it, and anything you do, it's just like I can't do it anymore. Stop, I'm too old. So yeah, I had to put the cleats on the wall. Yeah.
Genesis for stopping by and tuning in. She says Sundays are not the same without Power Hour. You know, that's we got to be back. We're gonna have an exciting shows for September and October to finish the season strong for sure.
Definitely, and we see if we can do reactions on videos, man. I think that'll be fun. We do have TikTok, we do have Instagram, we do have Facebook, we do have X. It's kind of hard to say that. I'm getting used to it. So if you guys want to go ahead and send us messages there, go ahead and do it. What we can improve on this show, what we can do better, what we can do a little bit less of, I think that'll help us out. But let's go ahead and continue, man. We still have the power rankings, and the power rankings did change a little bit from when we got on last. So I'll go ahead and post it here. And I'll go through mine first. I think I always put you on spot, Ernie, and have you go first. So I'll go ahead first. So I have the Diamondbacks going on number 10 because they fell off. Like I said, they won 3 of their last 10. I do have the Mets moving up. They're playing a lot better baseball. They're 9-1, and that's why I have them in 8. The Padres, number 8. I mean, the Mets were 9. The Padres are number 8. I have them dropping a position because they were number 7 last week when we had it, because we did post them up. It's just I feel like the Padres slipped a little bit. They're at 5-5, and I mean, they're not playing their best baseball, but they will get better. And then you have the Astros, where everybody's talking about the Astros. They're playing a lot better baseball. They did win the series against the Diamondbacks, which is something tough to do. We thought the Diamondbacks were going to, win everything out and try to win the division. But, we'll see what happens. And then you have the Guardians, where they played the Dodgers this weekend. And I thought the Guardians were going to do a lot more damage than what they did, dude. So they did lose the series, but, they stayed at number 6 for me. Then the Brewers, I had a number 3. They've slipped off a little bit because you had other teams performing a little better and playing against other tougher teams. But I have them at number 5. You have the Orioles. I have them on number 4. It was kind of tough to have them or the Yankees up, so I had the Orioles in number 4. I had the Yankees at 3 because they haven't been playing what they're supposed to be playing like, so we'll leave it at that. And then you have the Phillies. I have them at 2, only because they're 1 game behind the Dodgers, but they're playing a lot better baseball than as of late. Remember, 2 weeks ago, the Phillies were kind of playing not at the great moment, but, they're there. And then, of course, the Dodgers, they didn't move for me. They've been playing good baseball the last 2 weeks, and they've been showing it. So if the Dodgers do win out, where they do have the best record in baseball, they get home field advantage. But if the Phillies tie with the Dodgers, the tiebreaker goes to the Phillies because they did win the division. I mean, they did win the series against them. So that's the power rankings, man. So go ahead.
Wow, great, man. That's a lot of similarities within our power rankings here.
Right? I saw that.
We both have the top 10 teams. They're still the same, which is great to see. I see the Phillies at 2, and I see, I was kind of between the Phillies or Yankees. And the reason why I have the Yankees there, just the fact that they're leaders in the AL East, being able to be on top of the Orioles is something special. So that's why I have the Yankees. I know John has our fantasy show host here. Not going to be too happy with me having Phillies at number 3, but that could always change next week, man. They could be a number 2 starting next week or number 1. So we'll see how they perform this upcoming week. this Orioles team, like you said, is number 4. I think just them being number 1 in the wild card spot, they definitely should be there. Brewers number 5, exactly. Guardians the same. There's just teams that are leading the division year round. Should be in the top 5, but it just kind of been going up and down. And this is the Astros team, which has shocked everyone here now, being at number 7. I think that's where they best fit because they've been competing at a higher level these days, and they seem to win every series lately, and they have something special going there. Now, the Padres and D-backs, I feel like it's two teams that have been neck to neck with one another lately. It's either being the D-backs that are hot or the Padres, but both teams have been competing on another level. The Padres definitely have the edge right now just because they lead in the wild card race. Yes, the D-backs are 3-7, but if you have to match them up with the Mets right now, I think the D-backs take down this Mets team. I feel like they'll shut down that 9-game winning streak they had and would probably sweep them. So this is why I have the Mets at 10. Yes, the Mets are been playing better, but we also got to look at matchups and strength of schedule. This D-backs team did face the Astros this weekend, and that's why they had lost 2 out of 3. But there's nothing, and with losing 2 All-Stars, not having them in your lineup right now, that's hard to beat an Astros team when it's also playing really well. So that's why I have the Mets at 10, and this is probably the first time we've seen the Mets in the top 10 all season. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't remember the last time I saw this Mets team up here. So this is a special top 10 we're seeing here. These are the teams that we more than likely will see in this postseason. And, I feel like each team here has the potential to win the World Series. Well, do you think the Mets do? That's a question there. But other than that, I think these teams are playing great, and they've been playing great all year round. And I think Neto said earlier, I think he said the Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, and Orioles being in the mix in the top 4, it's great for the game of baseball. And, this is what we need going into the postseason. We hope to see some big matchups coming up because it's going to go all down this year.
Cool. And we'll go ahead and post that on Instagram so we can get some people or anybody to comment on our power rankings, and we will love that because this is a baseball channel and we want to talk baseball all day long. We can talk baseball. Dude, we could probably talk baseball like 24/7.
Definitely. I could talk all day. We could go either history, we could talk about the future, we could talk about the current news, and we can talk any other year, right? I just want to say that earlier this week, I did go to the Angels-Dodgers game. It was a special moment for me to see another freeway series. It felt a little bit different this year. The Angels definitely are not competing for any postseason run, but it was great to see that the Angels, still fought back and being in it felt like it was a Dodger home game with the amount of Dodger fans there. And I feel like a lot of Dodger fans did enjoy Angel Stadium. And it was great to see. And I feel like I should have made a video showing all the cool places they should have visited at Angel Stadium. But Other than that, Mookie Betts hitting a 3-run bomb in the extra innings was something special to see too.
Well, you went to the good game, I think, because it was a 1-1. They went to the 10th. I know it wasn't the outcome you were waiting for, but the next game, it was more of a like the Angels beat the crap out of the Dodgers. It's a great game too if you're an Angels fan and you like that type of game. But I think we're more baseball fans. I think that's why we're more of like, okay, if it's a 1-1 situation, even if my team loses, I feel like, damn, that was a great game. Like that was a good thing I was here.
No, for sure. Right? My team lost, but it was exciting to see Ben Joyce, who was throwing 105.5 and recorded the fastest strikeout in the game. That thing was coming in fast. I don't see how any hitter could even hit that these days. He has some crazy movement with his fastball that is untouchable these days. But it was a great game to see. Once he got removed from the game, I was like, oh, it's over. Mookie Betts and Shohei batting, we're done. We don't stand a chance. But, I'm glad that these teams, we have a huge young team compared to the Dodgers, but they were fighting back, which is great to see, and it shows that they have a good future ahead of them. But, man, another news, Nestor Cortez is going to the bullpen. I did mention it earlier in the show. He didn't seem too happy with the team. Looks like he was the opening day starter and is saying, why me? When there's other guys struggling as well. We'll see what happens. It's going to be not sure what's going on with Nestor Cortez. I know he's having a bad second half of the season, but who isn't? A lot of teams are. He's been the healthiest Yankee all year, so we'll see what happens there. And another last news, and I think Neto mentioned it. Thanks for bringing it up. Max Scherzer is making a possible return to the Texas Rangers alongside Jacob deGrom. Is maybe a little too late now, but Max Scherzer today pitched a minor league rehab game and actually was throwing a perfect game going into the 4th inning and accidentally threw. I'm not sure what really went down, but he threw an intentional walk. And that blew his perfect game. Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on that?
I just think it's a little bit too late, but they are 8 games behind in the division. So we're talking about the Mariners being 5 games behind the Astros. Maybe the Texas Rangers have something that they can go ahead and go into Houston and win this last series against them. I don't know. I just think it's a little too late. Yeah, it's great news. DeGrom is throwing the ball again. Scherzer, I think him saying that he has arm fatigue all the time. It's not looking too good, but I mean, it's all good for the game. We still get to see Max, and we get to see DeGrom, and DeGrom next year. Watch out, dude. That's going to be a crazy thing for the Texas Rangers. So we'll see. I wanted to go back to ask you, and I wanted to, since you were talking about the Dodgers and Angels, did you feel that they needed to have a video for Ohtani or something
Oh,
saying that welcome back, not just a post, saying that, oh, welcome back, Ohtani, and then you're the one that sent me that I should have posted it here. You sent me the scoreboard. Used to be employed here. Do you feel like that was disrespect towards the player? As an Angel fan, did you feel like maybe they needed to, I don't know, celebrate it a little bit more that he was back where he started? Because he did start with the Angels no matter what people say. That's where he
yeah.
started.
And Carlos, I was really upset. First of all, Artie Moreno, what are you doing? He deserved a tribute video more than anybody in our Angel history as a player. With the amount of the things this guy did in 6 years, he was something special that the Angels would have never had he not signed with us. He chose the Angels over the Dodgers. You got to remind yourself. Now he went to the Dodgers because the Dodgers offered him money the Angels could never offer. And another question is, Artie Moreno didn't even offer him a contract. There was not actual signing, like, here is the paperwork, this is how much we're offering. Nothing like that. What are you going to do? A team is offering you this much money, or the team that's not offering you? Obviously, you're going to go to the team that offers you the biggest money. And who wouldn't? Yeah. Right? But I'm really upset with the Angels, the ownership. A lot of the fans were being really petty, saying that he didn't deserve one. He got one back in the back in the preseason. And I'm like, it's like people need to get over it and got to realize that we had a special talent in our team for 6 years, and we got to witness some of the greatest baseball in the Angels uniform. As an Angel fan and talking real talk baseball fan here, man, this is a guy that deserves more than anything, the tribute bit, a little bit of that. But poking the bear and like saying he used to work here, he should be like, he used to be the greatest Angel player in history. How about that?
Yeah, you could have
because
done
when
that.
When he does retire, he's gonna be one of those guys. He played for the Angels, and you're gonna want to go ahead and retire his number, right? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
So I'm really upset. I really wish the Angels could have handled this situation better. Besides just a picture mentioning his awards, there was a lot of special moments that we could have shared to the MLB world, and it was a great opportunity to share to the Dodger fans to see, hey, this is the Ohtani you're gonna get from us. This is the guy we groomed to be this type of player. So I'm really upset.
Yeah. And I mean, as a Dodger fan, I just feel like, okay, well, I wanted to ask that because you are an Angel fan, and we talked about it, and you even brought it up. You were like, man, this is not the way they should have done it. They should have done it a little different. It would have probably brought more attention to the Angels if they would have done it to where they showed a video, right? But they didn't. They decided to take that route and be I guess, a little bit of a villain, right? And that's what kind of, went down. But you were there, you got to experience it, you got to see it, and we were like, okay, if a video comes out, you better record it so we can put it up. And I guess it didn't happen, but it's all right.
There was a special moment for me though, seeing everyone rocking that Ohtani jersey. It didn't matter if it was an Angels or Dodger jersey, everybody had an Ohtani jersey there representing the best player in baseball. And it was a pretty cool moment for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I talked to you about other stuff when we talked about playoffs, and let me ask you this now that we're on the show, since we haven't got on in 2 weeks, crickets. Anyway, so I told you that maybe the playoff way or the championship way should change a little bit for the MLB. We have 2 leagues now, and we've always had them, but both leagues don't differentiate from anything now. We have DH in the American League, and we have DH in the National League now. So what's going on with that is that there's no difference in the leagues, right? So I said, or maybe we had the conversation, is that maybe they need to go ahead and change it and take and remove the playoffs so we can have a season-long playoff, meaning the 162 games are going to be played in your division, which is the NL and the AL, and whoever has the best record will face the AL or the NL, meaning, let's say right now the best record is the Dodgers are up on the Phillies 1 game. When they get to that 162, if it stays that way, they win the championship for the National League. Let's say the Yankees have the best record. in the American League at the last day, 162 games. They win their championship in their league, and at the end, they have the World Series because now becomes a World Series. Would you like that format to happen just for a little bit? That doesn't have to be every year. It could probably be for
Uh,
a year or two, and
I
that's
mean,
how
it
they
would be
used to do it back in the
special.
days.
It would be special. If you look at it right now, if we were to do that scenario you're throwing out there, it would be a Dodgers Yankees at this exact moment right now, right?
Yeah,
Who wouldn't want to watch that matchup? It's like must watch TV, but you know how these MLB commissioners are here in America. We're all about playoffs and all about generating more money. So, yes, I don't see it happening. Would it be great for the game? Obviously, it's like the best thing. We'll see the best 1-2 teams going at it with one another, the best of the best, and it would make the regular season mean more. It
yeah,
would make every game more crucial. I see it happen in football and or soccer, in the English Premier League or any soccer league out there. You see these teams fighting every game. The reason why? Because there's no playoffs. The top team is a champion. So imagine
yeah,
that. If you were to
yeah,
make this game count, because right now, I'm sorry, but it's September, August. A lot of these teams have died off. And
yeah.
it's like even these Yankee Oriole teams, they're just kind of cruising around, not playing really hard. They make up injuries these days. My arm feels tired. Let me just sit out for 15 days. It's not the season that we're like, yeah, it's 162 games. Every game matters. That would be impressive. And I think it would be great for the game of baseball. But Rob Manfred's a moneymaker type guy, and these ownerships love to make money. So it's not happening. But
Yeah.
yes, if we could make it a special 1 year season about that, man, just think about it. Yankees, Phillies, Yankees, Dodgers. Man, the matchups we could get back, man, it would be impressive. And I think fans would want that. But, I don't know. This Rob Manfred guy, not very well liked by people these days. And it seems the type of guy that doesn't really care what people think. He just does it.
He just does it, and that's what it is all about. But I mean, I guess you'll like it. I just felt like, okay, maybe we can do that once or twice, and then maybe we can do that when we have the World Classic, because they were trying to move the World Classic in the All Star, or not the All Star, but I guess in that spot. I think the Olympics are going to be in the All Star time, so you have players voicing that they want to be part of the Olympics and play baseball. So I just feel like maybe we can change it up a little bit, and that'll be interesting. But I guess it's just baseball fans talking. It's just us saying things that we would like for the game to change a little bit, because we don't have a difference in any league. So why not do it to where it's interesting and we have a season-long playoff? And that'll be great for the game, dude. You'll probably have more teams fighting a lot more than what you do now, because now you have to win a division, and the division looks reachable. And you're like, okay, I only like look at the Astros, for instance. They had a lot of time to get better, and they're in first place. So
Yes.
if you have a season long playoff, the Astros weren't even close to try to win the AL. So we'll see what happens, man. But that's what it
Definitely,
is.
definitely.
I wanted to ask you that here on the show, because I think it's an interesting question to me. So yeah,
Yeah, and it's definitely, you're right. And this upcoming postseason is going to be interesting. We're definitely going to see best of the best this year. I know a lot of people were really upset last year seeing a Rangers Diamondbacks small market team, but this year is giving me the vibe that we're going to see some major teams be in the World Series, and it's going to bring these baseball fans back to we've never seen it before. With the viewership and growing the game of baseball. Neto's over here saying Francisco Lindor is still MVP. I don't know about that one. We had a whole segment about it. We did say Ohtani's 50-50 MVP season is great. That he said 103-degree weather is not stopping Ohtani from hitting home runs. It's sure not, man, because Ohtani's that special, guys. Once you get to see him live, he's a different beast.
he is a different beast. And if you need to you need to go ahead and go to a baseball game to see how tall this man is and how big he is. Like, he's a huge man, and that's why he's hitting home runs where people have never hit them before. And we're experiencing one of the great swing the bat. If you didn't go to baseball games back in the 90s or early 2000s when Barry Bonds was there, he's giving that vibe right now. And
For sure, man.
Acuna is giving that vibe as well. So we're living in times where baseball is at a different level than what it was before, and we're on it, dude. We're living it right now. This is a different breed of baseball players that are throwing 105 miles per hour. Like, who's gonna hit
Exactly.
that?
And
Who's
not
gonna
only
hit
that,
that?
and the next year he's gonna throw 100 miles right at you.
Yeah,
You know, it's like what the hell? Like what? This
that
guy can
that's
do it both sides. It's
yeah,
unheard of, and it's great for the game of baseball.
yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, we reached that hour. If you don't have anything else to say, go ahead and post it. We'll still reach it, and we'll still read it, and we'll still go ahead and comment back. Ernie, your last mentions before we log off.
Well, I want to thank all our listeners for tuning in today. We've had a special Power Hour show. We're excited to be back and finish strong for this postseason and bringing the best content we have for you guys out there.
Definitely, definitely. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and then hit that like and hit that subscribe button. And like I said earlier in the show, if you don't like what we have, go ahead and comment on there and tell us so we can get better at it and we can give you more content. Because with this a baseball show, I know football started today, but it's slowly going to fade out once your team starts losing more games. And and baseball's still going on. And we have September, October, and October is going to be interesting. We're going to see a lot of baseball and we're going to log in a lot more. So,
Yep.
yeah, definitely. So, from all of us here, Real Talk Baseball and Carlos Baseball, this is Ernie Orange. Real Talk Baseball, signing out.